You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Right now, an AI can write the code for a fully functional software integration in like a single afternoon.
Yeah, which looks like absolute magic.
It really does. But within a month, that exact same code is almost guaranteed to bring your entire product crashing down.
Completely crashing down. It's inevitable.
Right. Welcome to the era of vibe coding, where building software has honestly never been easier, but maintaining it has literally never been harder.
This total paradox.
Exactly. So we've got a huge stack of early May 2026 product management dispatches in front of us. And the mission today for you, our resident learner, is to synthesize this massive seismic shift we're seeing.
Because there's a lot of noise out there right now.
So much noise. We want to look at how AI is fundamentally breaking and rebuilding product management. Like from the architecture we deploy to the invisible ways users just abandon us, right down to the total collapse of how we actually price software.
The through line across all these newsletters and case studies is that the shiny hype of what an AI model can generate is entirely different from the underlying mechanics of what it actually takes to build a sustainable, resilient business around it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Joining me is our resident strategic mind to help separate that signal from the noise.
Glad to be here.
I want to dive straight into this concept of vibe coding. Paragon highlighted this recently, and their insight really crystallized the danger here.
Yeah, that was a fantastic piece.
It really was. They pointed out that a developer can just prompt an AI to generate a minimum viable product for an integration in, what, hours?
Barely hours, sometimes minutes.
Right. But the AI completely fails at maintaining hundreds of connectors at scale. Like, it completely ignores tenant-specific API idiosyncrasies.
Oh, absolutely. And it gives you zero observability.
Exactly. Why is that?
Because generating a static block of code is not the same thing as managing a living software ecosystem. An API is not some fixed target.
Right. It's constantly shifting.
Exactly. Rate limits change. Authentication protocols get updated. Custom fields vary wildly from one enterprise client to the next.
So the AI is just guessing.
Basically, yeah. The AI hallucinated a clean, standardized world that simply does not exist in enterprise B2B environments.
It makes me think of, okay, imagine you're building this gorgeous multi-million-dollar mansion.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
It goes up incredibly fast. It's stunning. But you built the entire thing on a sinkhole.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, the foundation is doomed from day one. The AI generates the static code, but enterprise environments are living, high-friction systems, which actually connects directly to that O'Reilly piece we read.
Right, about the organization being the bottleneck.
Yes, they argue that if you have a weak engineering culture, introducing AI doesn't give you leverage at all. It just accelerates your operational chaos.
It's just faster chaos.
Faster chaos. So I have to ask, if the organization is the bottleneck, does that mean our technology is currently outpacing our human ability to actually manage it?
What's fascinating here is that we are experiencing what systems engineers are calling the architect problem.
The architect problem.
Yeah. When you use AI to bypass the hard structural decisions, you end up building your product on borrowed land.
Borrowed land, right.
AI lock-in is widely misunderstood. People think it's just a vendor problem, like, oh no, we are too reliant on OpenAI or Anthropic.
Which is a valid fear, but...
But the data from early 2026 shows it is actually an architecture problem. If your core product collapses because a third-party API changes, or a foundational model updates its routing logic...
You're dead in the water.
Exactly. You haven't built a durable product. You've built a fragile wrapper.
So to survive that, the readings suggest teams have to preserve absolute portability.
Uncompromising portability.
Right. They need an architecture that decouples the underlying model from the data pipeline, from the evaluation processes and the deployment mechanisms.
Yes, so if a model degrades, you just swap it out.
And the end user never even notices a hiccup.
That portability is the hidden work behind the entire AI agent boom. We hear endless talk about autonomous agents, you know.
Oh, it's all anyone talks about on LinkedIn.
Right. But true leverage only comes from those boring, unglamorous engineering foundations.
The plumbing.
Yes, the plumbing. The AI can write the script, but the human organization still has to design the stage, manage the lighting, ensure the theater has a working fire suppression system.
I love that. But the downstream effect of getting that architecture right introduces a completely different strategic hazard, doesn't it?
It really does.
Because once your foundation is solid and your developers can use AI to ship code rapidly, the marginal cost of building a new feature essentially drops to zero.
It's virtually free.
And that zero-cost reality is reviving the failed promise of the super app.
Because the logic inside the boardroom seems so bulletproof.
Right. They sit there and say, well, if features are virtually free to build, we should just build all of them.
Why not? Right. Let's make an app that does project management, asynchronous chat, email routing, and CRM all in one unified interface.
But the Western markets continually reject the super app model.
Wow.
And the sources we reviewed explain the mechanics behind why. It all comes down to cognitive load.
Yeah, users just get overwhelmed.
It becomes an all-you-can-eat buffet where every single dish is free to cook, so developers just pile every feature onto a single plate until it's an unappetizing mess.
That is the perfect way to describe it.
Right. The sheer density of options paralyzes the user. That's why the prevailing mantra for 2026 product strategy has to be remove, don't add.
Remove, don't add. Great strategy is about choosing what not to build.
Even when building, it would take, like, an afternoon.
Because complexity is the ultimate enemy of adoption. I mean, the vast majority of features in a bloated AI app go completely unused by the core demographic.
But they still carry an immense technical maintenance cost.
Exactly, and they continuously clutter the user's mental model of what the software is actually hired to do.
I want to look at the tension here, though,
Yeah.
because we also reviewed that really fascinating case study from Evil Martians.
Oh, that was a great one.
Yeah. They took a tiny, microscopic $2,000 budget. They deployed a lightweight system of ads feeding into basic analytics and A/B tests, and they managed to generate 128 highly qualified cold signups from absolute zero.
It was incredibly efficient.
Right. They proved you can validate market demand incredibly quickly and cheaply. But wait, if the mandate is to move fast, throw lightweight tests at the wall, and validate on a shoestring budget,
I see where you're going with this.
doesn't that directly conflict with the deliberate, methodical work required to build the robust, portable architecture we literally just talked about?
It sounds like a contradiction, but resolving that tension requires separating the validation of the market from the scaling of the infrastructure.
Okay, break that down for me.
Validation is cheap. It's disposable. You can absolutely use an AI-generated landing page, a mock backend, and a targeted ad budget to find out if there's any genuine appetite for your solution.
Right.
But the moment you transition from validating a concept to actually serving daily active users, that disposable code has to be replaced by that robust architecture.
Oh, so you validate the appetite with paper plates, but you build the actual kitchen out of stainless steel.
That is exactly it. And that takes immense discipline, which is why the framework we reviewed regarding the 3 habits that beat AI fluency is so critical right now.
Because AI allows for endless, frictionless iteration, right?
Yeah, product teams can easily spin their wheels forever, just endlessly tweaking prompts and micro features.
So what do the successful teams do differently?
The teams actually shipping value do 3 specific things. 1, they define their exact success metrics up front. 2, they set strict stop criteria so they know the exact moment to cease iterating.
And 3.
And 3, they immediately test those iterations with real, unguided users.
Which perfectly captures the philosophy of designing from the inside.
Yes, the literature is adamant about this.
Designers can no longer sit in a silo creating pixel-perfect mock-ups in Figma. They have to be inside the product, shipping actual code, analyzing real user telemetry.
Making micro adjustments based on live data, not theoretical user journeys.
And you contrast that agile, evidence-based approach with the analysis we read on why product management is currently struggling so much in the European tech sector.
Oh, the European market is fascinating right now.
It's all about the culture of consensus.
Right. The European PM culture, according to the breakdown we saw, is heavily indexed on process, risk avoidance, and getting unanimous agreement before committing to a build phase.
Which is crazy when AI models and user expectations are shifting weekly.
A waterfall-esque consensus model is fatal right now. The product managers who are dominating the market rely on evidence-based simplification to force progress.
They use live data to settle debates rather than endless committee meetings.
Exactly.
Okay, so if the execution layer, like the coding, the testing, the data querying, is increasingly handled by automated agents,
Yeah.
and the strategic mandate is to strip away feature bloat, the human product manager's job description undergoes a massive identity crisis.
It completely changes what it means to be a PM.
Right. We are moving into the era of the agent-native PM.
And the fundamental shift there is about where you derive your leverage.
Because the literature used the term AI-pilled, which it sounds like internet slang, but it describes a very specific organizational posture.
An AI-built team doesn't just bolt a conversational chatbot onto a legacy software system and call it a day,
No, they tear down the entire workflow.
and rebuild it natively around what an autonomous agent can actually do. The human's advantage is no longer in managing the execution of tasks.
Because the AI does that.
Right. The advantage is in managing the velocity of the learning loops and defining the strategic boundaries for the AI.
And this is a big bill. But that heavy reliance on automated execution creates a severe blind spot,
It really does.
which was raised by one of the more brutal questions in our stack of newsletters. Why does almost no one in the AI space offer robust human support?
It is the dark side of this whole automation boom.
We are automating the task, but we are completely abandoning the user the very second the AI produces a suboptimal result, or, the user just gets stuck.
And that abandonment fuels what the industry is now calling emotional churn.
Emotional churn. I love that phrase. It's perhaps the most dangerous metric in SaaS today.
Because it is completely invisible on a traditional analytics dashboard.
Right. It's the digital equivalent of, okay, think of a friend who shows up to your party, but they just stand in the corner staring at their phone the entire night.
We all have that friend.
We do. Physically, their location data says they are present. So if you are just counting heads for your attendance metrics, the party looks like a huge success.
But emotionally, they are entirely checked out.
They are enduring the experience, not enjoying it, and they will leave the very second they have a plausible excuse.
That's such a good analogy.
If a user is forced to use an enterprise AI tool by their management, their daily login metrics might actually look fantastic.
But if they are constantly fighting a confusing interface,
And getting zero human support.
they are emotionally churning.
So how do we actually spot this emotional churn before users cancel their subscriptions?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it explains why the venture capital community is pivoting so aggressively toward a new interpretation of lighthouse metrics.
You mean DAU, WAU, and MAU?
Daily, weekly, and monthly active users.
Yes.
Yes. They are no longer just about raw volume. They are being analyzed strictly through the lens of habit formation.
Okay, like the case study we reviewed on Harvey, the legal AI platform.
Perfect example.
They aren't just celebrating the fact that a massive law firm purchased a multi-million-dollar license.
No, they are digging deep into the telemetry. They want to see if individual partners and associates are actually replacing their legacy search habits with the Harvey interface on a daily basis.
So they track the ratio of successful queries to abandoned prompts.
Exactly. If a lawyer has to reprompt the AI 4 times just to get a usable brief right,
That's a massive friction loop.
and it's a leading indicator of emotional churn, even if the session time looks incredibly high.
So to combat that friction, the successful platforms have to pair highly automated back-end scale with intensely responsive, human-led customer success teams.
You use the AI to do the heavy lifting of the actual work.
But you deploy humans to build the relational trust and manually unblock the user when the model hallucinates or the UX fails them.
The irony is that as the product becomes more artificial, the support must become increasingly human.
That's a really profound shift. Okay, so let's assume a team executes on all of this flawlessly.
A best case scenario.
Right. They avoid the vibe coding sinkhole, they build a portable architecture, they ruthlessly cut feature bloat, they implement human-in-the-loop support, and they establish a genuine daily habit without any emotional churn.
They are crushing it.
They're crushing it. But then they hit the final, most complex barrier of the AI era. How do you actually capture the financial value of that product?
Oh, pricing.
Because the established laws of SaaS pricing are collapsing in real time.
The classic model of charging, say, $20 per month for a static seat license is becoming economically incoherent.
Right, especially when AI agents are performing the work of entire departments.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We dug into the recent insights from Melina Verna's talk at Stripe Sessions.
Brilliant talk.
Her foundational argument is that a company's monetization strategy has to evolve just as rapidly as the product roadmap.
Pricing structures, packaging bundles, freemium thresholds, they can no longer be set and forget decisions.
They require continuous, live experimentation. But the most profound shift is what Kyle Poyar and the team at Metronome identified as the rise of the agentic buyer.
The agentic buyer. This is the transition away from monthly recurring revenue as the gold standard.
Moving toward real-time, dynamic value exchange. Let's break down the mechanics of this agentic buyer. We are talking about software purchasing software.
Yes.
If an AI agent acting on behalf of a procurement team is given a budget and told to optimize a logistics pipeline, that agent isn't going to sit down and negotiate a 3-year enterprise contract with a flat monthly fee.
It has no interest in a 3-year contract.
Right. It is going to evaluate different APIs minute by minute, purchasing compute power or data access dynamically based on which tool successfully completes the task in that exact moment.
Which means the vendor's revenue becomes directly tied to the successful outcome of the task, rather than just providing access to a tool.
And the golden rule they established for this new paradigm is do not sell the build effort.
Never sell the build effort.
If an AI agent accomplishes a complex data analysis in 2 seconds, a task that used to take a human analyst 2 weeks, you cannot charge your client for 2 seconds of API compute time.
Your margins would literally vaporize overnight.
It's like the master locksmith dynamic, right?
Oh, I love this analogy.
When you lock yourself out of your home and a master locksmith arrives and picks the lock in 3 seconds, you are not paying them for 3 seconds of physical labor.
No, you'd be furious if you were.
You are paying for the decade of specialized expertise that allowed them to resolve your massive problem instantaneously.
The market is shifting to value-based pricing, where the cost is anchored to the severity of the problem solved, not the computational calories burned to solve it.
So what does this all mean? If developers can just use off-the-shelf foundational models to build an AI locksmith in an afternoon, where does a company actually build its defensive moat?
That is the million-dollar question.
If the intelligence itself is just a rented commodity, how do you prevent your product from being instantly cloned and undercut on price?
This raises an important question, and it requires completely discarding the 2010s definition of a software moat.
Because historically, B2B moats were built on data gravity and friction, right?
Exactly. Locking a company's files into a proprietary format, so migrating to a competitor was just too painful.
But today,
Moats are built entirely on organizational context.
explain the mechanics of that context.
Forrester refers to it as the context data graph. Consider companies like Atlassian or ServiceNow.
Okay.
They aren't dominating the enterprise AI space because they possess some secret superior language model. They are dominating because their AI sits on top of a massive interconnected web of how a specific enterprise actually functions. The context data graph isn't just a database of files, it maps relationships.
Oh, so it knows that Susan in accounting always requires a specific legal sign-off before approving software expenditures over $5,000.
Exactly.
And it knows exactly how to format that request based on 3 years of historical approvals.
Precisely that. An off-the-shelf model is incredibly smart, but it completely lacks memory of your corporate culture.
It's like hiring a brilliant executive who is on their very first day of work.
Right. They know how to strategize, but they don't know who holds the political power in the room or, where the server passwords are kept.
The vendor who owns the context data graph, the deep relational map of the company's daily operations, they own the moat.
And this shift toward deep organizational integration explains the massive strategic moves we are seeing at the infrastructure layer.
Like Anthropic.
Yes, Anthropic, for instance, is no longer just selling API access to Claude. They recently partnered with Blackstone and Goldman Sachs to build an entirely new enterprise AI services company.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they are deploying models directly into the secure infrastructure of mid-sized companies to weave their AI into the fabric of those organizations.
Before a competitor can map that context graph.
They recognize that the ultimate value is becoming the central nervous system of the enterprise, not just a rented cognitive engine.
And if your product spans that much of a company's operations, your go-to-market strategy has to change entirely.
Completely change.
Which brings us to Kellblog's analysis on the reemergence of product line marketing.
Right.
When your moat is a deeply interconnected context graph, you can no longer rely on fragmented marketing where every minor feature gets its own isolated campaign.
That doesn't work anymore.
You have to present a unified, coherent narrative that articulates how your entire platform fundamentally transforms the way the business operates. You are selling a new paradigm of work.
Not a bulleted list of AI capabilities. Because the buyer isn't evaluating a tool, they are evaluating an operational partner.
So for you listening, Think about the architectural and strategic journey we just mapped out today. We started by dismantling the illusion of vibe coding, right?
Yes.
Exploring why durable B2B software requires a decoupled, portable architecture rather than brittle API wrappers. We analyzed the danger of zero-cost features leading to super app bloat, and why the discipline to remove, don't add, is your absolute best defense against cognitive overload.
Crucial discipline.
We looked at the mechanics of emotional churn, how to spot invisible friction in your user base, and why the most automated products require the most intensely human support teams.
Right.
And finally, we dismantled the old SaaS pricing models, outlining how the agentic buyer forces a shift toward real-time value exchange, and why your ultimate competitive moat is mapping the context data graph of your user's organization. This is basically your playbook for operating as an agent-native leader.
It is. But, solving one layer of complexity invariably exposes the next.
It's not.
I want to leave you with a thought regarding the trajectory of that agent-native PM role. We discussed how AI automates the execution of code, elevating the human's role to focus on high-level strategy, defining success metrics, and providing emotional support to the user.
Right.
But as we see models begin to autonomously run their own micro-A/B tests, they are actively learning to optimize for those exact DAU and MAU metrics on the fly.
Oh, wow.
So what happens in the very near future when the AI effectively becomes the product manager, dynamically adjusting the interface and feature set to hit the growth targets?
Does the human's only remaining function become the emotional support staff?
Exactly. Are we just the friendly face keeping the end user engaged while the machine quietly runs the business?
That is definitely something to think about as you look at your own product roadmap this week. Talk soon.
Spoken Tech for your ears.